everyone. This is Samantha. This is our second episode of our podcast. And as usual, here is my co-host, Amy.
Hello. How's it going?
Let's bring it back to who we are again. Again, my name is Samantha Kwong. We're doing our podcast called Unfiltered AF.
Nice.
And this is just a podcast, as I mentioned in our first episode, would be our own therapy. For my sake, it's therapy session. Just to express how I feel, just the different types of uneasiness I feel as I grow up as a child, of being first or second generation Canadian Chinese, and understanding the different concepts of how I feel dealing with parents from first generation. And having Amy here, it provides a really nice perspective on how she grew up and her funny insights on the different types of cultural differences that she has in comparison to mine. And I love explaining those differences. So love having Amy for that reason. And that's why we're here. And I'm going to have Amy introduce herself as well.
Hey, I'm Amy Kiesenwetter, and my goal for this podcast is just to be open and transparent about life and being a woman and being a mom and just everything that entails, because I still feel like a lot of people hide all the nitty-gritty stuff, and I know it's helped me through some pretty serious times having other people be open about that. So that's what I'm trying to do from here on out.
So for our second episode, we're going to go diving in a little bit on a serious note. You mentioned the fact that you had a parent that chose to leave the home, your family, and walked in the path of being a homeless person. So let's kind of talk about what does that mean? What does that mean in general? To me, that was the first time I ever heard something of that. You were so transparent about it that I was really at awe. So maybe take me back to how it kind of happened. When did it happen? Maybe a little background about yourself on when that occurred.
Yeah, I think it really started to go down that road when I was living in Australia. I was 24, 25 years old. Living in Australia, when I first noticed that my mom, who, first of all, just for some context, my mom was the most incredible parent. Like, she was the most devoted mom. She was the most supportive person. She was loving beyond anything. My mom would be the one that would be retiling the kitchen and building the subfloor in the garage to create an office. Like, my mom did everything. Like, if there was anything she wanted done, she found a way to do it. She was an incredibly supportive, loving, wonderful person my whole life, my whole childhood. And then all of a sudden I noticed she started to become, first of all, right before this happened, her job was a life coach, a career coach, that kind of thing. So her entire business was based online at that point. So she was always on the phone, email, computer, that kind of stuff. She coached people across Canada, in the US, with these big companies. And she was very inspirational. She was very driven. She was an incredible coach. She really pushed people beyond their limits. And then when I was in Australia, I noticed my mom stopped wanting to talk on the phone, which was weird. So that was kind of my first indication. And my dad and my sister's quite younger than me, and she was living at the house still at the time with my parents. And they did a really good job. My family did a very good job of shielding everything from me while I was living in Australia, which at the time was very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But when I moved back from Australia, my mom was sleeping in a different room, which is ridiculous because my parents are also very loving people, and I grew up seeing them love each other and have a really good marriage. Obviously, all the other stuff that comes with a marriage, but they were very loving towards each other. They put a lot of effort into each other. And then I moved back from Australia and they're sleeping in different rooms, which my mom was always very against. Like,
Oh.
that was not a thing. Like, you're married, you sleep in the same room. That's how it was. To keep like the physical, emotional, all the connection. It was important to my mom and my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So that was huge. And then just my mom was really distant. And I was living with a friend at the time because I just moved back to Canada. And there was this really emotional phone call I had with my mom, or with my dad. He was working out of town at the time. And he called and just said that, I don't even know the reason, but something was wrong with mom and she was kind of going off about something, and my little sister was home and he was worried about her and my brother was worried about her. So they asked if I could go over there. And again, I don't really know what was going on in that moment, but I borrowed my friend's car, drove to my parents' house, came in the doors, started to talk to my mom, started to confront her about everything. And for the first time ever in my life, my mom tried to kick me out of the house. She wouldn't even listen to me, and she's like, get out of my house.
Did
And
it seem like she was a completely different person? You had no clue who she was? Did
Not
you feel
yet.
Like, did you sense like a 180, or was it just
Yeah,
really odd?
Just really odd. She's never done anything like that. She started to become really religious, which she wasn't in the past. Like, we always grew up with whatever you believe, and that's fine. But
Can I ask, the fact that you were in Australia for that time, and it was just you, it's your dad, your sister, and your brother and your mom. How old was your sister, and how old was your brother?
I was 24, 25, so my sister must have been 16, 17.
Oh wow, okay, that's a very that's a stage of growth where like they're really learning a lot about themselves.
Yeah.
And having to witness that is it's impactful.
Yeah. Like, my sister definitely got the brunt of it.
And how old was your brother?
My brother's 2 years older than me, so he was 26, 27.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that day she tried to kick me out, and that was just so far beyond anything that my mom would have ever done. Like, I told my mom before I did absolutely anything in my childhood. Like, even if we were fighting, I could talk to my mom and tell her about anything, and
yeah,
she would be like this non-judgmental, safe landing pad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. And then what were the other signs that you saw that started to change from who she was to who she is now?
That was the biggest thing.
Yeah. And it just ended up being slowly, you see progression of changes inside of her.
Yeah. Like, she just got more and more religious to the point where she was saying she was the second coming of Jesus. And she was, she would say, I'm no longer Cindy Ulmer. She would say that she's no longer this person. We are no longer her children.
Did you ask her why, or did you felt like any of her explanations did it make sense to you? Was it really bizarre? It just made no sense. Was it logical?
It didn't make any sense. At the time, I just didn't think it would turn into this. So it just didn't make sense. I just thought she was losing her mind. I thought she was sick. I thought there was something going on. I remember standing with her that night in the living room and trying to get her to the doctor. And she was against the doctor. She wouldn't go to the hospital. She wouldn't go anywhere with me. She wouldn't agree to any help. She wouldn't see anyone. She wouldn't let me make any calls. It was just, I could see her becoming really mentally different.
Mm-hmm.
And not at all the person that I grew up with. And when I even brought up any kind of help or doctors or hospitals, she went crazy. Like, she was absolutely against it.
And how long did you try or persisted in trying to convince her to seek medical help or of that latter?
That night I tried for quite a while, and then I ended up leaving just broken and in tears. And then my dad came back from working away, and these are just things I remember. I'm sure my sister has a completely different interpretation of everything, but my dad tried to get her to get help, and she wouldn't take any of our advice.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after that, my dad actually had an argument with her just because of how everything was unfolding in front of my little sister.
Yeah.
And in order to protect my sister, my dad said, you needed to leave. And she basically took my backpacking tent, and which was like a 2-person little backpacking tent, and she left all of her ID. She took off all of her jewelry. She just left with the clothes on her back and my backpacking tent and left and never came back.
That day when you...
Not that day. This was shortly after that. So probably like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks after that.
Oh, wow. That must have been such a shock. I'm speechless. How possibly a parent who loves you, that you could talk to about everything, would just walk up and leave. I mean, based on my childhood, obviously I don't have a parent that is in a situation such as yourself, but if I had any type of like medical issue, I know with like my dad and whatnot, we did provide different alternatives, right? So a little backstory about my dad is my dad had a work injury, and that left him, somewhat paralyzed, and he could no longer work. He's in constant pain. He's been in pain, I think, since 2005. Even till now, he's constantly in pain. We've seen professionals or anything, and he suggested, like doctors suggested surgery, but the chances of success of full recovery or no pain is very low. And it's not a big surgery, but it's an invasive surgery that my dad is scared.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is scared. It's 5 hours. It's not long, but it's not short. But the problem is it's the recovery time. Recovery time takes her all. He didn't want to be a burden. But he didn't tell us that. He told us to my mom. He didn't want to let us know. But the problem is, the first 10 years, it was really hard for my sister and I. Because of the pain, he was emotionally in pain. His emotions were erratic. He was so unpredictable. It really hard for me to talk to him. And because of that, I don't even know how to talk to him at all. We're just really silent. Our entire family don't know how to communicate. We just don't talk. And I don't think I've ever been able to communicate with my dad. And a bit sort of, this kind of translates to my mom. I don't know what to say to them. Because I know they don't want to be burdened, but by them not telling us anything makes it even worse for me emotionally. So it's different hearing that as a young child, you're able to go to your mom and your dad to talk about everything. But I was not able to. I still, to this day, I can't. I can't. And so it's hearing that about you, it hits differently with me, and it like leaves me so sad that you had such a wonderful person that left you out of nowhere. And that is a huge, it leaves a huge hole, personally, for me. But for me, I'm so used to it, I feel a bit numb. And so this, to me, is, I'm kind of shocked. And definitely, I don't know what to say.
It was
something like that.
It was a really big loss. But at the same time, just hearing your words, and it took me over 14 years to get to this place, but I see what I got from my parents. For the first time ever, I did a Mother's Day post from my mom since she left, and it's been 15 years since she left, and it was the first time I could do a Facebook post openly about the things that she gave me, because I'm now in that spot where I can be this is all that she gave me, and thank God I had her for the time that I did have her.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty lucky in that.
And do you, after that, since she kind of packed up everything and left, did you know what happened to her afterwards?
So she left in March of 2010. And then I really wanted to find her and see her. And my dad found out where she was just through another person in the homeless community and his family and somebody that was close to my mom.
Sorry to interrupt, but how did you know she was homeless?
Through the person that she was homeless with.
Oh.
He was a little bit younger, and his parents kept really close track of him. So in order to find her, we would just contact his parents. And his parents were angry with us because they thought my mom was keeping their son homeless.
Oh, wow.
Because he was really influential, or easily influenced.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought my mom was keeping him homeless. So his parents were very upset with my dad and our family because they thought we should do more to separate them so their son would come home.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, that took a really long time to get over as well. But we would go through his parents and they would know where he was, and that's how we would find my mom. But it was, I think, in August, the end of August, when my dad took me to find my mom. And she was living in a field in Abbotsford, in like this wooded area. And my dad took me there. And this is the first time I'd seen my mom since she became homeless. And just again, for context, like, we tried everything to save my mom from this situation. But in the society that we have, the political system, whatever you want to call it, it's very hard to get your mentally ill family members any kind of help unless they try to self-harm or harm someone else. So it just wasn't possible. So anyways, we get to this field, park the car, start walking through this clearing, and all of a sudden I see this tent, and I had my little Jack Russell dog with me. And we get to this tent, and then my Jack Russell's kind of running around, and my dad's behind me, and I see the tent, like my backpacking tent. Like, obviously I recognize it.
Yeah.
So I go and look at it, and my mom is nowhere to be seen. So I go poking through this tent, and it is just, I just can't even explain, like, the smell. It was like this super, like, cigarette smoke, and just this smell, like this stink. And it was just overwhelming, and like overwhelming because it was so sad to see my mom living like this. Like, it was just, as a daughter, and like they had their food and stuff like hung in this little bag, hung in a tree, like I used to do when I was camping, to hang it from the bears.
Yeah.
I went in the tent, and they have like these, a few bags full of like a toothbrush and toothpaste and toiletries, but it was just this smell, this like cigarette, musky, moldy smell in this small beaten tent. And it was just like soul crushing. And then I heard voices, and it was my mom and the other guy that she was
staying with,
living, homeless
right.
with. Anyways, and she comes up to me, and this is the first time I had saw my mom since she left. And I just started bawling, like absolute, like lost my mind bawling. And she comes up to me, and it was just the weirdest interaction. She was so clueless. Like, she comes up to me, just this concerned stare on her face. And she's just like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "Did Kylie run away?" She's talking about my little Jack Russell. I was like, "No, like, my dog's running around this field somewhere. Like, My dog didn't run away. You did.
Yeah.
But it's like she just had no awareness of everything that she left us, that she was living in a field, that I was there to find her, that I hadn't seen her in months, that she hadn't bathed in God knows what, like, just no awareness. She just thought I was upset because my dog ran away. And then we just stood there and talked, like, just superficial conversation, and I don't even remember what really we talked about, but it was pretty insignificant. Like, I obviously wasn't going to ask questions about the homeless situation. I just asked how she was, and I don't even remember the answer. But she was just so oblivious to the situation and my emotions dealing with it. And all she kept asking my dad and I were just all these questions about, like, how are my brother? How are my sister? How are the pets? She went through, like, all of our animals, like the cats, the dogs, like we had a couple of iguanas, between our households. And she asked about the pets. She was very loving and sweet, and she was just still a really nice, kind person at that moment. Just really oblivious.
Do you think, could you get a sense of, like, where her mindset of maybe conceptualizing of time frame? Like, do you think she was talking to you at a certain age or mindset?
No, she seemed different than the person I grew up with, obviously. Like, just very oblivious to everything, but very coherent, if that makes sense. Like, very oblivious of the situation, but very coherent about where she was. And she was still very nice to me and my dad. And she was asking how we were, and she was asking about each pet. And, like, she was very loving and concerned.
It sounds like she's more aloof.
Yeah. At that point, she was.
Okay.
Anyways, we ended up leaving that day. And then I went back to see her the following year because they had moved from that location. The police came and kicked them out. So they moved actually to a place by the Vetter Canal the following year. And I had my dad take me again. And he took me down. And at this point, they had kind of started to build a structure out of wood. They still had the tent. They kind of had a lean-to built. But we walked into their space, and they were there. And I remember this time, like, they were so, like, my mom was so aggressive.
Really?
At that point, she was not nice to my dad. She was accusing both of us of being very materialistic. We hang out with materialistic people. We live in a materialistic world. We are part of this society that's ruining the world. We're bad people.
So it sounds like this is more of her thinking of, like, in my mind, just on what you're saying, is she's really going to be very nomadic lifestyle. Like, her choice of being nomadic because she sounds like she's really against the so-called capitalism, materialistic things that what makes the world function and the world moving in the societal pace that we're going at right now.
Yeah, like, just very against society as a whole. Like, against doctors, against hospitals, against materialistic.
Did your dad, or your sister, or your brother saw anything, or was something or a person that impacted her to be this way while you were gone? Did they mention anything to you that, like, sparked her to go down this path?
So looking back, I could have mentioned this before, I guess, but something happened to my mom when she was younger. There was, some really traumatic, horrible things that happened to my mom when she was younger. We don't really know the scope of it. And now that my dad's gone, maybe I never will, but I do know some very horrible things happened to her in her childhood.
Yeah.
I don't know the extent of it. I can't really say by who, because I feel like that's even a gray zone without asking certain questions to certain people. But
Of course.
I do know, and my dad knows, and just with everything growing up, like something very bad happened to her when she was younger. She worked for victim services on the helpline. Like she helped other people through these kinds of situations when she was her stronger self. And when she did leave, she was almost 50. So looking back on it, part of me believes, or I don't know what it is, but I think perhaps she, like she did everything she could to break any generational trauma. Like she showed up for us in the most incredible way as a mother. She did her best. And then I think possibly she hit menopause. I don't know, but something changed in her brain.
Yeah.
And then she just cracked and couldn't hold it together anymore. And
I think that makes like a plausible reason behind it. I mean, with all, like you said, she was, advocacy for removing generational trauma. She's working with, the aids of victims with, of all abuse in families and whatnot. I think hearing all that can really take a toll on you and you probably carry that along with you, probably. And maybe, as you kind of mentioned, that maybe she was trying really hard to fix something to other people and it just wasn't working. And then maybe, like you said, she broke and realized, fuck this. It's not working. I feel like I want to just give up. I can't do this anymore. That could be the case.
yeah.
And it's unfortunate the fact that, it's been, you're saying
15 years in March.
Yeah. And she still hasn't come to, in wanting to, reach out to you, your sister, your brother, or...
My sister has seen her over the last couple years. I don't know when she has seen her last, but she found her a couple years ago in a different spot.
Mm-hmm.
And she went to see my mom, and she was able to see my mom, and my mom, accepted her and let her be in her space a few times actually. And I remember before my sister went, I'm like, oh my God, like tell her, if she asks questions, like tell her about my kids, tell her about my husband, like tell her whatever she wants to know. And my sister came back and she's just like, the only thing mom said about you, so the only thing my mom said about me was to, if I ever tried to find her, she would leave and we would never find her again. She would go away and my sister wouldn't be able to find her and she would just drop off the face of the earth. So I have not tried to see her again.
I'm sorry that you had to hear that. And unfortunately, two things I wanted to apologize. I'm sorry to hear is the fact you had to hear it directly from your sister instead of your mom, and hearing those words from your mom makes you really, like, as a bystander hear this is like, why, what did you do to have to receive that? What did you do to be given such harsh words?
She said it about me and my older brother, and I think she allows my sister to see her, and my sister was like, so I think it hurt my sister more to say that to me than it did for me to hear it. Like my sister felt that so deeply and cared so much.
I think she probably has a rack of guilt. Harboring on that, having to say
I can't even imagine what my sister has gone through just being in it. Like I was lucky enough to be in Australia when things really started to go south, and my mom had said that about my brother and I, And I think because she was so much a part of my brother and I's life, and we saw her in such a different way, and we were out of the house when all of this happened.
Yeah.
And maybe because my little sister was, significantly younger and very much in it, like living with my mom when this was all happening, and she was changing. And I actually, after my dad passed away a few months ago, about 9 years, actually it was 9 years ago, my dad gave me a stack of journals that my mom had written for 2 years leading up to her leaving. And I started to go through some of these journals after my dad died. And in all of the, I've only gone through a few because she wrote in them every day. Like, it's a giant stack of journals. But earlier in the 2 years, like before things were really bad, she was very optimistic. She was still doing her coaching. Like, she was very coherent and had a really strong mindset.
Yeah.
And intermittently through these journals, I kept seeing, I'm sorry to my little sister and that she loves her. So she wrote that she'd be writing all this stuff. And then she'd be like, I'm sorry to my little sister. I love you. Just a random line intermittently through these journals and consistently through these journals. And my brother and I aren't mentioned anywhere in these journals, just because, my mom was talking about just life.
Yeah.
And it's just, my mom still to this day seems to feel very differently about my sister. And I hope my mom has guilt somewhere still in there about how everything went down and put my sister through all of that without the solid connection my brother and I had.
Yeah. I think that might be the case based on, being able to at least read a glimpse of what your mom was thinking and feeling prior to those 2 years prior to her leaving. And perhaps you're on the right track in thinking, because she has, you had at least 20 years of her where she's fully there, being a fully committed mother and happy and being the best mother she can be for you and your brother. Whereas during that time of change, she probably does feel like she's neglected your sister. And that's perhaps what's keeping her connected to her more so than anything.
It's the only thing I can think of through all this.
I think that would be, ideally, you would want to think of it that way. I personally would want to think of it as positive as possible.
And I am glad that if my sister wants to see her, that she's there for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And when your sister told you what your mom said to you, did that made a heavy realization?
Oh God, I broke. I absolutely broke. I remember.
Like how real it was?
Oh. I felt like I had come a long way at that point.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of group therapy, like therapy in general. I thought I had come a long way at that point. And then when she told me that, it's like I just collapsed all over again. I just thought that finally my mom would care to see me, or at least ask if I had a husband or kids, or like she knows nothing of that side of my life. But I just remember like I was a ball on the living room floor, just heaving, crying for hours. And my husband had to take over the conversation with my sister because obviously my sister was in a really hard spot. So my husband was trying to console my little sister on the phone, and I was just a pile in the corner. And yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This gets me emotional about that. The fact that you both are grieving and mourning for each other, clearly, and it clearly sounds like you both feel a sense of guilt and responsibility of some to each other.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that.
Thanks.
Emotional.
Yeah.
And from this experience, how does that shape on the way you think as being, what family means to you?
Oh,
As
God.
being a parent. Because, as you just mentioned, you wanted to have your sister tell your mom that you're married, you have a husband, you have 2 kids, beautiful kids.
Thanks.
How does that shape you?
First of all, I would love that my mom would care that I have kids. My kids ask about my mom. I'm very open with my kids. Obviously not to some nitty-gritty extents, but they know that, I'm open about my mom being there physically. Like, she's still out in the world physically, but her mind isn't the same as I know, and she's a different person than I grew up with. And as much as my daughter specifically would love to meet her grandma, I obviously don't feel that it's right to let that happen at this point in time. So those conversations are hard. Not having my mom to go to when I have questions about my kids is so hard.
Yeah.
But it has made me, first of all, I knew I'd be a good mom because of the mom my mom was for me. Like, I knew that I would be a really loving, passionate mom because of the mom I had. Yeah, right? God. And it has made me appreciate my kids and becoming it's made me want to become a better person. It's made me want to become a better mother. It's made me appreciate everything that my mom gave to me. Being a mom makes me realize how much my mom did for us. Like the lengths that she went to support us and love us and build us into the people that we are. And I'm like, I am this person because of the mom that I had and because of the dad that I had. And even though she's not there, like, she's in me and everything that I do. And I feel like that's a pretty awesome gift for a mom to give. And you never know how long you have people. So I had her for all of my most formative years. And then she left when, she didn't want to put me through this. Once she was mentally gone, she left and she didn't make me take care of her. And I can see kindness in that now. Like, I can see, it's like, I can see that she did that for us. Not because of us, not in spite of us, but she did that for us. She walked away cold turkey and never came back for us. She could never be that person for us again. She gave us the absolute best of herself. And then when she couldn't anymore, she walked away and she didn't make us suffer and watch her deteriorate.
Hearing what you just said, I would have never thought to think of it in that aspect. On you think of it as a positive, and think obviously it took obviously a certain amount of time to get to where you are to even come up with that.
A long time.
Like a long time. Yeah.
15 years.
Coming up with that, viewpoint of the choices your mother made towards you, your brother, and your sister. Obviously, as you mentioned, your brother and your sister, their perspective on it is their own view, and obviously they could share their input and their however comfortable in what retrospect it has impacted their lives. And clearly, coming out from it, I can tell you are an incredible mom, friend, wife, from everything I've seen. Although our time together has not been long, I see that. And I think it's so amazing that you've been able to take what you've learned from your mom and get the best of her, and she chose not to show you her worst parts based on what her belief systems are, to give you what you would like to be as a mom towards your kids. And I just think that's so beautiful that you are only looking at the positive and really trying to avoid the negative. And not many people are able to do that. Most people are so impacted to a point where they probably can lose themselves along with it.
I think I was absolutely on the road to destroying myself for years. And I had one friend who just like stood by me like a rock. And she also grew up with a mom with mental illness. And this friend like stood by me to no end and, you know, took me to therapy and went into group therapy with me and sat with me when I cried and sat with me when I screamed and stood next to me for years and years and years when I tried to destroy myself. And she's still one of my close friends to this day. And I don't know what I would do. I'm a lot more welcoming of support after my dad passed away. Whereas when my mom passed away, I hid from everyone. I sabotaged all my relationships. I was just broken. And if that one friend hadn't stood by me in that moment and not let me go, I just think I'd be a completely different person today.
It really is amazing to be able to have not just one, it could be one or even multiple people within that's able to be in your court. And like I hear stories, and at times it just takes one person to really like pull you out of that darkness. And that one person can really change the course of your life, is how I see it. I had my dark moments. Not as dark. I think my dark moments isn't as dark as, you know, other people. And I personally think everybody's story about how they get through it is always incredible, hard to really, I don't know what's the right word, to fully understand, because everybody's story is so different that it just makes you stronger if you can get out of it and make you feel more resilient.
And that's another big part of why I feel so passionately about like doing this with you and talking about it now, because it took me over a decade to openly talk about my mom. And if I hadn't have had those people early on that were so open and talking about their experiences with these types of situations, I wouldn't be here. Like, I don't think I'd be the person I am. I wouldn't be able to see and have the outlook that I do if I hadn't heard other people talk about it openly.
And that, personally, I think that's a key, is being able to share that, because it doesn't feel like you're alone. And being able to have the courage to share your story is incredibly hard, because most people feel like they're alone. They shouldn't burden anyone. I don't think anyone would care if it was me. And like some of the cases I've been through, you know, in my life, I wouldn't think I would feel comfortable to share at all. But I think that is the power of what can change a person, by sharing their experience. That you're saying is, you know, if I knew someone that had similar, you know, position that I was in, I feel stronger. You feel stronger when you're connected with someone, so you don't never feel alone. I think that's one of the biggest things about mental health that we need to focus on as well. Being able to share stories. I think that really helps more so than going and reading up books on self-help, is being able to share, is how I see it. But being able to find the right person to share with is incredulously, you know, special, and also can be challenging as well, who you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all, because you always feel like you don't know if you can trust that person.
And you don't, you know, you feel like you're a burden, or you feel like they don't have the time, or you feel like you're too sad. I don't know. Like, I just remember feeling so pathetic.
personally think for me, I just don't want them to feel like it's an obligation.
Yeah.
I just don't want to feel like it's like like you said, a big burden, and I don't want to drag people down. It's one of the biggest things is how when I deal with certain depressions or ideas of how when I'm in my low point. Now, I mean, let's kind of brighten up a mood a little bit. If we were to bring this topic in a more of a lighter situation, if you were, if your mother and you were a certain character, how would you describe your mother's character? It could be a cartoon or a particular character in a movie or book.
I don't know why, but like Betty White comes to mind. Like my mom was just like hilarious and loud and had like a crazy laugh, and you could hear her talk from across the room, but she talked with conviction, and she was confident and so capable of everything. And she was just a really vibrant, loud personality.
If people don't know who is Betty White, I'm sorry, we're really aging ourselves.
I feel like that's even aging like past. Betty White is much older than my mom.
I guess.
I just think of her personality. Like she's just very...
Like, just if people want to know who Betty White is, you gotta look her up. She's a classic icon. Seriously. She really is. She really does it all. She was a beautiful, beautiful woman in her prime.
I just feel like my mom is like, you could just sit with her and tell her anything and she'd support you without judgment. And
oh, for sure. And Betty White has that, ambience about herself. It's like she's, again, unfiltered. So unfiltered. She's so unfiltered.
Unfiltered is the best.
As she gets older, you tend to respect her more. And you think she's like this amazing, cool grandmother that literally is way ahead of her times. That's how I see her. Like, that's how I get that from Betty White. I love her for that.
I feel like that just comes to mind, but...
So after that, let's after hearing your sister tell you about that, was there any one pinnacle moment? Did you realize, okay, you've come to understanding and closure of that chapter? Or do you think there's always that side of you that want to continue and opening up that hopeful door that eventually she might want to meet you again, meet, your husband and your 2 kids?
Actually, it was last March, so it was the 14-year point when I really had a turning point. I had done my first, live presentation for my job, and I remember being so proud of myself. And then I had a comment from a colleague that I really respected, and she's just like, okay, like you did that's amazing, but what about this? And why don't you have this yet? And I remember just like breaking down, and I hit a really low point because I'm like, oh my God, like, you're right. And I felt so worthless in that moment. And it was in that moment also, like that week, that I realized how much I relied on my mom and my parents to lift me up and support me. And from that point, I worked really hard on working on my own worth. And through doing that, I've finally come to the place where I feel really, really worthy. Like I feel like I have, meaning, and I'm worth it on my own. And I think it took my mom leaving for me to realize that. Like, I think it took my mom leaving once I got to that point to knock the crutches out and be like, you can be this for yourself. Yeah. So now I feel that way about myself. And when I started to feel that way about myself, I was able to forgive my mom. I don't think my mom's ever coming back. I'm actually considering having a funeral for my mom. Just so that I have some closure. Yeah. But I don't think my mom's ever going to come back. I hope she's happy wherever she is. I want the best for her. I love her to the moon, no matter what. She was a great mom. But I forgive her. I think she helped me by leaving. You know, if she's going to be that way, I want her to be happy. I don't want her to be drugged up in an institution somewhere. She lives in nature like I would want to be, maybe not in that way. But, you know, she doesn't live in a dirty camp somewhere or something like that. Like, she lives in the middle of nature. And I want that for her. And I don't want her to be drugged up. And I forgive her for what she did. And she was an amazing mom when I had her. And I love her. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah. That's beautiful. No, that's wonderful. Sorry, your words are so powerful.
Thanks. Try not to.
So, based on what you just said, is that what you would have liked to say to her if you were able to sit down with her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only I would hug her. It sucks not hugging her. But I'm okay with it now.
Yeah.
Like, she did what she had to do, and I hope she's happy, and I hope deep down she knows that I'm happy and I'm strong because of her.
Yeah.
And I got through this because of the tools that she gave me. So.
Well, obviously, you're an incredibly strong person. Incredible.
Thank you.
Really, you are. Being, taking the tools that your mom's given you and being a parent let's think about the idea of the questions are, your kids are still young and whatnot. Have you noticed any of these, tantrums, or you've seen where your kids are growing up and trying to become their own person and whatnot? Have any of the things that you learned from your mom that you're putting towards to teaching your kids, and how are you navigating that?
Yeah, I think a big part of the person I am as a mom is because of my mom. Like, my kids do the tantrums, they do the freakouts, they do, whatever it is. And I think what I'm doing that my mom did for me was focus on connection, like, just be there for them, support them without judgment, like, love them unconditionally. Like, it doesn't matter what they do. Like, I tell them I love them every morning, every night, every time I see them. Yeah. Like, I tell them I love them so much. And that's because of my mom. Yeah.
And what about the times when, this is very normal as a parent. I'm a parent as well.
Want to strangle them?
Yeah. What about those times where you're like, oh, what do you do when the time comes?
See, that's when it's frustrating to not have your parents, because you really want to vent. You really want to be was I this much of a jerk?
Yeah.
And what did you do? But yeah.
You had, I'm sure your dad was present and he got to see, you being a parent and the struggles of being a parent.
God, he would always just tell me to chill out.
That
Men are different.
Well, he had, the thing is, he was sort of a single parent for a little bit. And you got to give him a bit of props on that. Come on.
He was a very grounding force, which I don't think I've been trying to be more of a grounding force since losing my dad, actually, but yeah, no,
How do you keep yourself sane when the tools that your mom gives you are there? Doesn't always work. So what do you do with your kids?
Drink.
Good advice.
I feel like I don't even know how to answer these questions. Walk away. Have me time. I've actually started to create more me time, which I did learn from my mom.
Good.
Good. But yeah, other than that, no, I just go crazy sometimes. And want to strangle them.
Yeah.
I don't strangle them.
Well,
it's a thought.
A thought. Mentally, I'm like, oh. But no, I think that's so normal.
Mhm.
I think that's wonderful.
The drinking or the running away, or which
Well,
part's that?
no, I think the honesty. I think that's just the honesty behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we should be doing. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect parent.
God, no.
And for you to be openly talking about it makes me feel better about myself. So, yeah, I think we should end it at this.
Okay.
I think we've explored a lot
It's been a
about...
roller coaster.
It's been a roller coaster
I
ride.
think I'm gonna need a nap after this.
It was emotional. We were crying. Oh my god. I just want to hug you so much.
Hug after.
We had a little laugh about parenting and whatnot. And I just want to say, Amy, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and being able to share this. It's not easy. I'm really touched because I learned a lot. I wish you didn't have to go through that, but it makes me appreciate so much more about you as an individual. So much respect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's just that, I don't know, just the emotion is like warming up inside of me, but from hearing your story. But this has been incredible. I'm so happy that we were able to talk about this in our podcast. And I look forward to our third episode or continuous episodes that we have. Yes. And
Life.
Life. And if listeners want to stay tuned and listen out for our next episode, please do. As for our third episode, that is yet to be determined.
I was going to say, no idea.
No idea. But hopefully we'll come up with something interesting.
Yeah.
And let's stay tuned for that.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Awesome. All
Bye.
right. Bye.